What if the most valuable Washington quarter isn't shiny at all? Coined today, we reveal 3 state Washington quarters that look badly worn, scratched, or damaged, yet are worth millions of dollars. Most people would ignore these coins, or even spend them, but collectors would pay a fortune for them. Stay with us, because one of these rare quarters could be hiding in your pocket right now. First up, the 1988 Washington quarter struck at the Philadelphia Mint with the P. Mint mark is a fascinating example of late 20th century United States coinage that represents not only a continuation of one of America's longest-running coin designs but also a reflection of the economic, historical, and technological conditions of the U.S. Mint during the late 1980s, a period marked by high coin demand, massive mintages, and an emphasis on durability over artistry. This coin belongs to the Washington Quarter series, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and by 1988 the design had already become deeply embedded in American daily life, circulating in enormous numbers through commerce, vending machines, parking meters, and everyday transactions across the nation. The obverse design, created by sculptor John Flanagan, depicts a dignified, left-facing portrait of George Washington inspired by a bust by Jean-Antoine Houdin, with bold inscriptions including, "Liberty," arching across the top rim, "In God We Trust," positioned to the left of Washington's neck, the date, 1988, centered at the bottom, and the P. Mint mark placed just to the right of Washington's ponytail, which is particularly significant because Philadelphia did not use mint marks for most circulating coinage prior to 1980, making the presence of the P. a modern identifying feature for collectors. The reverse design showcases the iconic heraldic bald eagle, wings spread wide in a commanding posture, clutching a bundle of arrows symbolizing military strength, while olive branches beneath represent peace, with inscriptions reading, United States of America, at the top, E pluribus unum, above the eagle, and quarter dollar, at the bottom, a design that remained unchanged for decades until the state quarters program began in 1999. Compositionally, the 1988 P. Washington quarter is a clad coin, made from an outer layer of copper-nickel alloy, 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, resulting in a total composition of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, with a standard weight of 5.67 grams, a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and a reeded edge, all of which were standardized after the removal of silver from circulating quarters in 1965 due to rising bullion prices. The mintage of the 1988 P quarter exceeded 596 million coins, an enormous number that reflects the heavy demand for coinage during this era, making it one of the more common modern Washington quarters in terms of sheer quantity. And because of this massive production, most examples encountered today are heavily circulated, showing signs of wear such as flattened hair details on Washington's portrait, weakened lettering, loss of mint luster, contact marks, and scratches acquired during decades of use. However, despite its common nature in circulated condition, the 1988 P quarter holds notable interest for collectors, particularly those focused on condition rarity, because finding examples in high mint state grades Mississippi 65, Mississippi 66, or higher is surprisingly difficult due to the rough handling of coins in large mint bags and the less refined striking quality typical of high-volume production years. Collectors and numismatists also actively search for mint errors and die varieties associated with the 1988 P issue, including off-center strikes, clipped planchettes, die cracks, die chips, doubled dies, lamination errors, broad strikes, and misaligned dies, all of which can dramatically increase the value of an otherwise face value coin depending on severity and visual appeal. Historically, the 1988 P Washington quarter serves as a snapshot of U.S. Mint priorities during the late Cold War era, when efficiency and output were emphasized over artistic refinement, resulting in coins that were durable and functional but often lacked the sharp detail seen in earlier decades, which is precisely why pristine examples are so desirable today. In the modern coin market, a worn 1988p quarter is typically worth only its face value of 25 cents, yet uncirculated examples can sell for several dollars, and professionally graded specimens certified by major grading services can command significantly higher prices at auction, especially if they display exceptional luster, minimal contact marks, and strong strikes. Beyond monetary value, the 1988p Washington quarter holds educational and cultural importance, illustrating the evolution of American coinage, the transition away from precious metals, and the realities of mass production in a modern economy, making it a meaningful piece for collectors, historians, and everyday enthusiasts alike who appreciate how even a common pocket change coin can carry decades of history, craftsmanship, and national identity within its small copper-nickel form. Next up, the 1967 Washington quarter with no mint mark is one of the most historically important and misunderstood coins in modern United States numismatics, representing a unique transitional era in American coinage when economic pressure, rising silver prices, and nationwide coin shortages forced the U.S. Mint to make dramatic changes to how coins were produced, identified, and distributed. This quarter belongs to the famous Washington Quarter series, first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, and by 1967 the design by sculptor John Flanagan had already been in circulation for 35 years, making it one of the most familiar images in everyday American life. The obverse of the 1967 quarter features Washington's left-facing portrait with the inscriptions, "Liberty," across the top, "In God We Trust," to the left, and the date 1967 at the bottom, while notably lacking any mint mark, a deliberate decision by the U.S. Mint rather than an error, as from 1965 through 1967 all U.S. coins were struck without mint marks regardless of where they were produced, a policy implemented to discourage coin hoarding during the nationwide coin shortage that followed the removal of silver from circulating coinage. During this period, quarters were struck at multiple facilities including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, yet none bore mint marks, making it impossible to identify the exact mint of origin from the coin itself, which adds an element of mystery and intrigue for collectors. Compositionally, the 1967 Washington quarter is a clad coin, made of an outer layer of copper-nickel alloy bonded to a pure copper core, resulting in a composition of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, with a total weight of 5.67 grams, a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and a reeded edge, marking a complete departure from the earlier 90% silver quarters minted in 1964 and earlier, which were heavily hoarded once silver prices rose. The mintage of 1967 quarters reached into the hundreds of millions, as the U.S. Mint was under intense pressure to flood the economy with enough coins to restore confidence in circulating currency, and as a result, production quality was often inconsistent, leading to weak strikes, poor detail, and heavy contact marks straight from the mint, which is why truly high-grade examples are much scarcer than raw mintage numbers suggest. Most 1967 Washington quarters found today are heavily circulated, showing flattened hair details on Washington's portrait, worn lettering, loss of original mint luster, and numerous scratches and nicks from decades of use in commerce, vending machines, parking meters, and cash registers. However, the true collector fascination with the 1967 no mint mark quarter lies in condition rarity and mint errors, as coins struck with off-center designs, clipped planchettes, die cracks, die chips, lamination errors, broad strikes, or doubled die characteristics can be extremely valuable. sometimes selling for hundreds, thousands, or even more depending on severity and eye appeal. Another important aspect of the 1967 quarter is that no proof coins dated 1967 were officially issued, as the U.S. Mint replaced proof sets with special mint sets SMS from 1965 to 1967, and some 1967 quarters from these sets display sharper strikes, satin-like surfaces, and superior detail compared to regular circulation strikes, making them especially desirable to collectors. Historically, the 1967 Washington quarter stands as a symbol of a turning point in American monetary history, reflecting the government's response to inflation, metal shortages, and public behavior, while also marking the end of an era when precious metals played a central role in everyday coinage. In terms of value, a worn 1967 quarter is usually worth face value, but uncirculated examples can command higher premiums, and professionally graded coins in top mint state condition can sell for significantly higher prices at auction, especially when certified by major grading services. Beyond financial worth, the 1967 no-mint mark Washington quarter carries deep educational and historical significance, illustrating how economic forces shape currency design and production, and proving that even a common-looking pocket change coin can tell a powerful story about American history, industrial capability, and the evolution of modern money. Next up, the 1995 Washington quarter struck at the Philadelphia Mint with the P. Mint mark represents one of the final classic-era Washington quarters produced before the historic transformation of the series with the launch of the State Quarters program in 1999, making it an important coin both as a common circulation issue and as a symbolic bridge between traditional U.S. coinage and the modern commemorative era. This quarter belongs to the Washington Quarter series that began in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and by 1995 the design by sculptor John Flanagan had been in continuous use for more than 6 decades, becoming one of the most recognized and widely circulated coin designs in American history. The obverse of the 1995 P quarter features a left-facing portrait of George Washington based on Jean-Antoine Houdon's famous bust, with the inscription, "Liberty," boldly displayed along the top rim. "In God We Trust," positioned to the left of Washington's neck, the date 1995 centered at the bottom, and the P. Mint mark clearly visible to the right of Washington's ponytail, indicating production at the Philadelphia Mint, which had resumed using mint marks on circulating coins starting in 1980. The reverse design shows the traditional heraldic bald eagle, wings spread in a commanding pose, clutching a bundle of arrows that symbolize national defense and strength, while olive branches beneath represent peace, accompanied by the inscriptions, "United States of America," "E pluribus unum," and "Quarter Dollar," a reverse that would soon disappear from circulation after decades of use. Compositionally, the 1995 P Washington quarter is a clad coin, consisting of outer layers made of copper-nickel alloy bonded to a pure copper core, resulting in an overall composition of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, with a standard weight of 5.67 grams, a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and a reeded edge, a structure introduced in 1965 when silver was removed from circulating quarters due to rising bullion prices. The mintage of the 1995 P quarter exceeded 1 billion coins, making it one of the highest mintage Washington quarters ever produced. As the U.S. Mint was preparing for increased coin demand driven by population growth, economic expansion, and the upcoming State Quarters initiative, and this massive production means the coin is extremely common in circulated condition today. Most examples found in pocket change show clear signs of wear, including flattened hair details on Washington's portrait, weakened eagle feather details, contact marks, scratches, and loss of original mint luster caused by decades of circulation through banks, vending machines, and everyday commerce. Despite its common status, the 1995 P. Washington quarter remains important to collectors because of condition rarity, as finding coins in high mint state grades Mississippi 65 and above with strong strikes, minimal contact marks, and full luster is more difficult than many people expect, especially given the rough handling of coins during large-scale mint production and transport. Collectors also search for mint errors and varieties associated with the 1995 P issue, including off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchettes, die cracks, die chips, lamination errors, misaligned dies, and occasional double die features, all of which can significantly increase a coin's value depending on visibility and condition. Historically, the 1995 P quarter reflects the U.S. Mint's late 20th century focus on efficiency, speed, and output rather than artistic refinement, which explains why many coins from this era exhibit weaker strikes and heavy bag marks even when uncirculated. In the modern coin market, a worn 1995 P Washington quarter is generally worth only face value, but uncirculated examples can sell for a few dollars, and professionally graded specimens certified by services such as PCGS or NGC in top condition can command much higher prices, particularly if they show exceptional luster and eye appeal. Beyond monetary value, the 1995 P Washington quarter holds cultural and historical significance as one of the last widely circulated quarters to feature the classic eagle reverse, making it a meaningful piece for collectors who appreciate traditional American coin design, the evolution of U.S. currency, and the idea that even a common pocket change coin can represent decades of history, economic policy, and national identity. Please like and subscribe to my channel.